Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
It's a string roo, low, low, low.
And folks, after a short recovery break, we are back with you with some more monthly tournament over here on Orsha North. Who do we have, sir?
Well, on the left-hand side, in the blue, we have ourselves a Jimster Hacks playing as the HermanGoering Panzer Division with Maverick Income. Right-hand side in red, we have Liszek playing first Polish, also with a Maverick Income.
So, HermanGoering, the Poles, we know how this kind of plays out a little bit. I mean, naturally, of course, being the fact that the HermanGoering division, waves upon waves of aircraft, and the Poles having no aircraft to spare whatsoever. Oh, wait, I have that backwards.
It's always funny how the Airborne Panzer Division doesn't have a whole lot of airborne units.
Well, to me, it's always the Airborne Panzer Division is them dropping panzers from the air, so technically, it's still what it says on the tin, just not very effectively.
Yeah, it's like a Soviet airborne tank era experimented in the 30s.
Yeah, wasn't that basically kind of the forerunner of what would eventually become the Little John, like the Daimler Little John kind of idea?
No, it's like they literally just got like a T-60 tank and gave it like rings.
Gave it rings.
Rings.
Oh, wings. I was like Red Bull. Something makes sense.
The speech impediment jumps in again. Same thing with his Su-57s. Barreling down the road, T-34, German run it is. Stopping the advance, but we're seeing pretty heavy play on the flanks.
Yes, we certainly are. Checking out to the northern side, so I missed a little bit of that here. But 231 and, of course, MP44 Pioneers. Yeah, that T-34 should kind of be okay for a bit. And I say kind of because this appear to, of course, are going to come on in and just start blowing the shreds with their HE satchels. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do find this quite interesting how Liszek isn't so much going directly for the top part of the hill, but trying to control the central forest area. It's always a little bit more of a risky maneuver as you like the high ground, but just see if him having not a whole lot of AT nearby, he might as well just try to play for the forest. And he's actually going to be pushing towards a farmstead here, which is quite an interesting play.
Even more so when you consider the fact that the troops they're pushing against, first of all, you have disheartened carnies, which are going to win by just sheer dint, I think, of numbers more than anything else. And that BA-10. But I feel like this is a play that could bear unexpected fruit, if for no other reason than the fact that, like, okay, cool, you're close to me now, not a big deal, I can still isolate your troops and take them out one by one, which is exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, he's actually doing this quite well with this maneuver, kind of spreading his infantry around, kind of like through the claws or gaps of Jimster's line here. I do like him pushing up the superior, because usually if you leave that zone until later, it's usually very heavily defended, so it's a bit of an overextension, a bit of a risk going for the farm, but if he can hold on to that now, that's a nice Gucci flag location to hold on to.
Well, especially when you have two squads there as well. I know it sounds ridiculous to say, yes, 2 is better than 1. Of course, Khan. Well done. You can count 2. But, I mean, Billy's in the first place, unless you're hitting with a more than a smattering of HE, it is deliciously difficult to try to dig them out. That's the entire point of having strong points. So, great. You stress out one of my guys. It doesn't mean I lose the flag just yet, because I still have somebody else right there. So.
And he's even bringing up some more T-34s, and I think, if his T-34 reinforcements coming in, that should really solidify this southern push.
I do something. Looking at the northern push, though, we are going to see a T-34E just kind of laugh off the tennis balls being fired his way by the 231. Took out a 233 already. If I could take out the 231 with one more shot, no, somehow he misses. But the same thing is happening to the Germans in the south. It's kind of happening to the Poles in the north. It's a curious idea.
Yeah, I was just seeing a little bit of a north-south trade. However, in the center here, Jimster has been able to push a little bit and actually gain control of that massive farm complex out in the open. And it seems he's bringing a few more units to probe the center, and I always love it when players do probe the center on this map. You do not see it enough. It's usually not that well defended, so you might as well try to send some troops down, yeah.
I think it might be some of the fact they keep saying they keep probing things, and like, okay, cool. I mean, we might not be alone out there, but that's still one of those verbs that kind of goes along with the adjective moist.
You're definitely going to feel it.
Oh, yes, I'm sure you are. In the meantime, T-34 continues to bedevil everything. There's that one Pac-38 up north, but unless he gets a beautiful little side shot here, which is possible, Tink. Never mind.
Kink. Yeah. I'm also seeing like northern center hill. We got Ursat's trooping leading the charge here, trying to do one of those probing actions, you could say, to see what's up here. So continual center pushes here from Jimster, and I do like his aggressiveness. God damn, the Ursat's trooping just driving right up to the Zis-3, because why not?
Well, even better, the Zis-3 is like, oh yes, we have HE2. They fire a shell at a guy's, maybe 10 meters in front of him, and somehow manage to miss.
Oh, now this free shooting towards a tank just due to how auto-targeting works, and damn, that was a really ghetto but very effective push.
Speaking of gatiosity, down south we're seeing Strelkies, though, doing the same kind of idea. Of course, now we have a door knocker aiming at half-tracks, and this should be a considerably easier set of kills. That's one. Okay, the other guys could get out in time. But there's still a ridiculous amount of Polish equipment down south. And I don't know, a 231, a P4, a couple of airsats trooping, I don't think that's gonna enough to, seal the deal. Especially when there's an IL-2 coming back in at that Pack 38. 231 already goes down. And T-34s and 45 mils, yeah, these airsats trooping are not long for this world either.
Yeah, this southern side is essentially lost here for Jimster. As you can see, by Godfist, and just a huge amount of troops here. And the Poles do perform pretty well on CQC. They can get some anti-tank guns to roll up. It's just not going to be a rough roll here for Jimster to continue trying to push this failed location. He might as well just, set up the basic defense line to make sure you don't get pushed to the spawn. And then just try to continue central pushes, because he is making progress in the center. He's got another Sats trooping push, going to run into a Maxim gun. But that is keeping him in the game. He is still up by a 13 round now, 12-12.
Or 13-11 one more time yet. It's I'm not going to say curious, because that's going to be the word of the day, I'm sure. But airsats trooping against the Maxim. The Maxim, first of all, I'm surprised that he's not able to fire back.
Oh, it's CQC.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. I was like, wait a second. I have guys right in front of me. I have a machine gun. But as we go into the dog days of Phase A, we are noticing that there's some things here and there, half-track to the northern side, aggressing and being a pain in the ass to that Pigren. Southern side, there was a mortar half-track. We're starting to see the mortars start to engage a little more extensively here. P4 goes down, universal carry kind of being followed on up. Yeah, guys, this is one of those moments that you are going to lose your spawn. You know what? Screw it. Just making a new defense next road up. Just hold that intersection at least.
Yeah, universal carrier really just going the distance here, trying to see how far he can get.
Kind of a weird moment there, but 14-10. And I feel like that is only because, Jimster hasn't really stirred himself. 15-9, there we go. Hasn't really stirred himself to take that northern point. But, geez, the Poles have, for some reason, somehow, been completely and totally left the southern side of the map to the Germans. I am very confused here.
Yeah, we're pretty much seeing like a north-south trade here, but for both players, well, really, Jimster has come out definitely on top because he's also pushed the center of just, a few light armored vehicles and some rather disheartened troops. So he is getting a very nice 16-8 right now. It would be very easy for him as well to just solidify the northern side. You just set a Pack 40 up on that hill, and you just blow up any T-34 which comes your way. And we haven't yet seen, I'm actually quite surprised, the IL-2 spam from the Soviets. So never mind, I spoke too soon. We got 2 IL-2s coming in already.
There was one that kind of took out I think one of the Pack 38s down south. So this is either number 2 and number 3 or number 1 and number 2. I don't know.
I know it's an IL-2.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely accurate here. But I think what we're going to be seeing is iron cigars, regardless, being plopped down on any kind of, hard position as we can get. Down south, the lighter version of the IL-2 basically obliterates. And northern side, going after that 231, should be pretty easy for him to kill it, I would think.
And we're actually seeing a continual reinforcements in the northern central hill here, as Jimster is eating more Ursat's trooping up onto the point. Now Liszek is finally paying some attention here, especially considering North is completely gone, of reinforcing this hill. And they have the BA-10, and yeah, especially all he needs is the BA-10 and a half track. There's no anti-tank here at all.
Well, we are continuing to see. Well, 13-11. I think it's just more of a consequence of time. Yeah, Air Slash Trooper making a run across the open. And hey, T-34s. I wonder if that's a great idea. Said no one ever. Oh, man. Air Slash Trooper doing their thing. But against Descent Nikki, this is a bizarre fight.
Yeah, it's just both sides very much overextended in the north and southern side respectively, so they're just throwing in what, leftovers they have. The Liszek is really starting to heavily reinforce center, bringing in a whole lot of T-34s, and the lack of anti-tank here just in general from Jimster in the center is definitely going to not be beneficial for him.
No, as the great bards might say, that is not good.
No bueno.
No bueno indeed. You practicing your Spanish, I appreciate that. IL-2 in the meantime, coming over here, looking to try to find that half track? No, he's just going to bomb the countryside, because apparently it offends him.
Yeah, going after the Pak-40 again. And he is going to finish it off. And also saw Jagdpanzer being brought in down south. I'm guessing it's more of a defensive play, and honestly a very good run, as opposed to don't have a whole lot of ground-based anti-tank. They do have air-based anti-tank IL-2 cluster coming in for the grill. See if he can make it a bit grilly here. I think he gets a load off. Yeah, he does, and that's a dead grill.
Well, you know what? At least he died doing what he loved, barbecue. Air Slash Trooper Flammenwerfer trying to go and reconsolidate that northern central hilltop. I don't think that's going to happen. I think right now, because of the lack of anti-tank play, from the Germans anyway, I think we need to start to see a realignment from east-west.
Indeed. Here we did see, or are seeing, a Tiger being brought out here, so be curious to see how it ends up performing. Of course, to combat the T-34, especially in this central, open country. But cluster IL-2s can do quite a number to big, heavy tanks.
Even more so when you have these T-34s, these pointed T-34s. Aha! Yes, we have them now, boys. And there's a Slutsk on their side, and who should be able to just kind of run up behind them, ping him a few times in the backside. That PTRD should be able to seal the deal if he gets any kind of stirring for it.
Yeah. But I do like how Liszek is really starting to get very aggressive now in the center, like you said about realignment. And he has more quality here compared to Jimster currently, at least, especially in the infantry department. So he has a very good window to try to push up, secure that southern central hill, and probably capture a couple of his other flags in the center to get him that points bleed.
Wait, you're telling me that Air Slash Troopers are not high quality?
I know, isn't it weird?
I thought the hearts meant they had bigger hearts than normal.
Yeah, it means an easier target to shoot, Khan. Yeah, that's a problem with having a big heart. More blood loss.
I'll say, the problem with having a bigger heart, you get hurt more often. Oh boy. Storm Pioneers moving into try to roust out some of that Strelky. Strelky, though, in the meantime, going to be more than enough, I think, to kind of keep them at a distance. And they're going to continue just to cause hassles, to put it mildly, for this T-34. Surprised he still isn't dead yet. HMG engaging Sapirti in the open, and I think that's best he can see. He can barely see the other squad moving up the hill, but that's not going to happen. And the scout wannabes getting some eyes off the T-34. Yeah, I think this is where the pulls start to really move into that pole position.
Yeah, if he can, rather the Polish T-34 can kill the Russian-German T-34, he should have a pretty good position on this hill. Yeah, I think just for the Storm Pioneers as well, I think Jimster will be able to just barely hold on to this. And goddamn, that recon troop he's just running right past the tank. He doesn't care. He's doing reconnaissance, one rail, another.
IL-2 on the Tiger.
No anti-air. Oh, out in the open, and that's to be expected.
It is to be expected, but doesn't make it any less sad all the same. So
that's a pretty huge loss.
Oh yeah, absolutely massive. Congratulations, you just won 130 points, which is now dead. Ooh, another Katyusha strike, and it's going to obliterate this 88. Ugh.
And
Yowza.
he's going to roll lucky in that case. It's already 50-50 of MLRS on static targets. So it's usually a safer bet on anti-aircraft units, because anti-aircraft units take more damage from ground fire, even though his rockets are technically coming from the air.
Technically, aren't all bullets coming from the air?
You know, you have a point there, Khan. I can't disapprove that.
I appreciate that. Every now and again, it's nice to know I can still put one up in the score column there. Just like Liszek right now is putting a +1 over here against Jimster. He's bleeding him out ever so slightly. And I think a great big deal of that here is because of this air power. This air power has just not been able to be shut down, and we laugh about it. But HermanGoering just never seems to have an answer, despite their name.
Yeah, and this is always, the main... Oh, yeah, Panzer got blacked. And that's always what you have to be worried about, especially against Poes. Their tried and true formula is, okay, we got T-34 spam, we got a bunch of mediocre infantry spam, and then we're just going to bomb you to hell and back with our flying tanks. And we're seeing it just really come into action now, just constant IL-2 runs, and especially if HermanGoering, your NTS is pretty expensive. You don't get the nice 37 mils, which are like the good all-rounders. So it's very hard to invest in a good, heavy anti-aircraft net.
Well, I think we're going to see... Ooh, never mind. The IL-2 doesn't even need to kill the Jagdpanzer. He gets killed by... What the heck was that? Was that T-34?
Was that... No way. Wow. Was that a side shot?
It was. He was not angled perfectly over there.
Huh. That's a very lucky hit from a T-34. Those Jagdpanzers are using more panzery. But hey, it's another Jagdpanzer which he can go for. And this is going to be very poor timing for him to show up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yikes.
God.
Wow.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, Jimster's in a very, very, very rough spot now. He just lost pretty much all of his armor in the span of a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. It's one of those kind of weird moments when you think to yourself, wait a second, I know I left my toys around here. Where are they? And there's a little neighbor kid cackling as he runs the other direction with a firecracker. Blue Greek Grenadier, Storm Pioneers, these guys have been going in expecting to actually have some rock-solid armor support. They are going to have nothing, and they have no anti-tank to fight off even this T-34 as it gets brought on in.
Yeah, and then once again, Liszek has still that foothold on this southern central hill position here, and if he can just keep that foothold, that gives him such a good opportunity to cover down south, put pressure more towards the spawn, more importantly, really hook around north here, and probably try to take the northern town.
But really does he need to? I mean, right now you've made a statement in the south. You know, without a doubt, you control the southern half of the map. Grill goes down. SDKF said 7-1, makes ground fire, forces off the IL-2. Man, would have been nice to actually bring that guy in, 10 minutes ago. But do you really actually need to take northern town? To me, I would just say rupture the center. It's a psychological hit in the first place. And you already kind of force, let's say, a crazy defense of that northern town that just isn't going to work in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, Liszek's already in just a very comfortable position right now with all of his armies, just kind of getting all the T-34s spread around the map here. And Jimster, he's investing in Panzer IVs. He really just needs decent medium armor and slowly trade his raid back up into a better armor advantage. But I think it's going to be hard without the anti-air, because IL-2 coming in up north is going to be blapping that T-34, and no anti-air up here, so he's going to go down. And honestly, actually, Liszek might as well make a play far north again.
That's true, but he's going to pick up at least one more flag with the -2 bleed. And if he just stirs himself, he's starting to hit there we go. He's starting to do it. He's hitting that T intersection. He's going to hold it. You don't have to really worry about things too much coming further forwards than that. Wait, what's he got? He's got eyes on, those Grenadiers? The air's stupid to the north. Congratulations, you have your carnies moving on in, and when the carnies come to play, I mean, there's no other way out of it. There truly isn't. IL-2 continues to kind of make gun runs over here. He's going to go after that SDKFZ. And likely will kill. No.
Close, very close.
Doug Marcaida would not be impressed.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing a heavy anti-air investment now. Like he's got 3 of those flak villain trucks up, which he needs. He really needs.
Unfortunately, he went for a flak 88 the first time around, which it's nice to have the, let's say, the mental aspect of it and to theoretically have the anti-tank capability, but if you're fighting T-34s, that's the heaviest thing you're fighting? Is that really necessary?
The problem with his anti-aircraft net is, like, really the 88s are better than the flag villains, especially as a first purchase, as they have the better range. But you really need either just single tranny mills, just for map control spread, or the 37 mils, as are like the perfect all-rounders. It's just the problem with his anti-aircraft net, it's all the really expensive stuff, and he doesn't get a whole lot of it. So against this IL-2 spam, it's very expensive for him to invest in a good anti-aircraft net to actually cover the map.
But see, to me at this point, I'd be using the SDKFZs as anti-infantry support platforms.
I think he needs to keep him alive to deal with the airplanes.
Yeah, okay,
he can't afford to lose anymore.
Anymore, yes. But I think that to me is why I'd be saying, cool, I know the Poles have solid infantry. My infantry can be good if... And then at that point, the rest of the sentence doesn't matter. But if you're sitting over here in the first place, you say to yourself, all right, I see infantry at long range. Yes, I have infantry moving in the first, to kind of engage them. I also have flak Vierlings as to put some suppression down on them, and they have 6,500 rounds of ammunition. Like that is a solid weapons platform. And instead, what we see is PaK-38s out in the open getting picked up by disheartened Carney troops.
Well, the problem as well with using the flag villains as infantry support is it doesn't get black from the T-34s. He mainly just needs to be using his mortars more effectively, and keeping his tanks alive to provide the infantry fire support. He cannot afford to lose any of his SDKFZ anymore. He has no fighters. If he loses them, and the IL-2s have complete dominance, and it's already looking pretty close to be the game here for Liszek, but that would really, really seal the deal if his anti-aircraft net is just gone.
Perversely, he had an opportunity to send a Ju-87 on that central hill. There were 4 or 5 vehicles on top of each other. Like they were having like a tank orgy. Like that could have been an absolutely brutal bombing run. But unfortunately, I don't think he had the income for it.
And now it's going to come down to the Jagdpanzer to hold off against this Russian horde of T-34s and BA-10s, and just a very nice push here from Liszek. We're seeing more in like northern central position. The armor is starting to solidify that area and slow things down a bit. But I think just the southern central hill push is just going to completely rupture Jimster's line. This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that thing, first of all, has been taking so much firepower. It looks like it's 4th of July. It's just rounds bouncing off. And please, the rising Russian tide. There we go. Long last Ju-87 makes a run. What do we got? Okay, that was...
One.
That was disappointing.
Yep. Yep. At least the Jagdpanzer is still alive, just very, very stressed out from all the fire coming his way. So he can come in for round 2, unless the IL-2 has something to do about it. No, he's going for the T-34. Getting the flank. Nice clutch.
Well, he actually might get taken out. SDKF takes a rocket strike. Oh no, that's going for the... What's it going for? It's going for both of those. Interesting. Yikes.
And there we go. That's not a good thing you want to be losing there from Jimster.
P4s in the meantime. I feel like, I'm not going to say this is the last act of a desperate man, but I feel like this guy is on the ropes hardcore. Do you think we do ×2 at this point soon?
Yeah, let's do ×2 at 2540.
And
×2.
So, as we kind of continue to push our way forwards through this, what are the kind of lessons we're seeing here? First, don't play HermanGoering, especially not against the Poles. Not for nothing, HermanGoering is good when you stay in its lane, but I feel like HermanGoering is a support division. That will always be my perception of them.
Yeah, they very much get hard counters from the Poles. There's the lack of aircraft, and anti-air really screws them over. Against more traditional decks, they actually do pretty well. The Panzers come in clutch. You have just enough like medium armor and heavy armor for 1v1. The infantry is honestly pretty good. It's just when up against air heavy decks, especially Poles, which we've all known since like Death on the Vistula, are just the IL2 spam division. And honestly, Liszek just played it perfectly. He just did the Polish Classic.
The Polish Classic sounds like a really, really obscene sex act.
I was thinking more of just like, I don't know, a movie, like The French Connection, the Polish Classic.
True. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I've always had my issue with the French Connection name as well, but I agree with you except for a couple of things. Yes, Young Panzers are good. They mix up pretty well, but the distance firepower of the infantry is great, but the lack of infantry AT, that will always drop a division in my book. If my guys can't, in a pinch, be trusted to consistently engage armor one way or another, I don't know. That drops you.
He did see more Panzer Grenadiers. He does focus a lot on CQC troops.
Yeah.
IL2's coming in again, just completely yagged in that yagged Panzer.
Now we have T-34 who's just like hustling on back. He's probably going to get taken out at some point, but the fact that he's behind the lines is a little bit shameful. Like, this is a shameful display to the level the Shogun wouldn't be able to be okay with this.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if that Panzer IV will be able to deal with it.
Nah, S-35's got him on unlock. Ooh, or getting locked. Jeez. There we go. Hey, look. Infantry with AT.
What a shame. Blows them up.
What a shame with the P4 who killed them, but at least they're there.
Yep. And it just looks like this has such a good infantry blob here. The Polish penal troops, I mean, they are disheartened compared to the regular runs, if I recall, but still just, they can hold the line quite well, just enough for the T-34s. Really IL-2s to come in and do their magic here. And there we go, he has the tap out.
And that's a very understandable tap.
Yeah.
I feel like the cost should have been a little bit more pronounced. Only about 1,000? I kind of felt like it should have been way worse than that.
He's starting to blap a lot of tanks towards the end, but yeah. No Sturm Tiger, which is a shame.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, I feel like that would have made me even more depressed. It's like, okay, we see this great metal monstrosity and then get taken out by, like, I don't know, 45 mil. Filipowski, a couple scout cars. Wow, I can't do that next one, even remotely, forgive me. Klemensky, Urbas, I mean, the air power was decisive in my mind.
Yeah, IL-2s, especially if lack of, enemy threats, can just come in constantly, have a pretty fast reload time, and as you can see, just time and time again, just blow anything up, which has a little bit of armor.
Apparently, Freud had his own interpretation from the German side, killing several half-tracks of BA-10 and SU-57. I'm not sure what this says about his mother, but I'm sure it's something that we can definitely get on the couch about.
Yeah, nothing else really all that crazy from the German side.
No, not at all. So, hard counters, death from the air, forget the Vistula. Any other final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, until next time, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.